Hey guys, now that I am back at making videos, I thought it'd be a good idea to do an update video on who I am, where I've been, and what in the heck has taken me away from the YouTube channel for a while. So, just to catch you guys up to speed, my name is Steve Shaw. I'm a 45-year-old power lifter who got into lifting back in the day around 1986 because of a love for bodybuilding. So I spent about 21 years specifically training for muscle building. And since 2007, 2008, I have trained more for powerlifting. I'll be 46 soon, and back in April, my daughter attended the UPA Nationals in powerlifting, and that had been about a year for me since I had competed. I caught the bug at that time to go for it. I wanted to really give 4 months of my life hardcore to see how much I could bring my lifts up. At that time, I would come off about 2 years where I'd gone hardcore with high frequency training, squatting 3 times a week, deadlifting 3 times a week, benching 3 times a week. During those 2 years, I was training about 6 days a week, 2 weeks on, 1 week off. So it was pretty high frequency. But when I hit the beginning of this year, I needed a little mental break, so I stopped training as hard. So, long story short, when I went to UPA Nationals, I caught the bug to compete again. And since that point, since that day after I got home, I have been giving it heck. The first day I got back, I hadn't been training the bench much. And 315 felt pretty weak in my hand. So if you fast forward to last weekend, or the weeks leading up to the meet, I was hitting bench PR after bench PR after bench PR. I got up to the point where I actually hit 500. This was with chains and with a slingshot, but the chains only deloaded about 30, 40 pounds at the bottom. So anyway, I got up to about a 500-pound chained bench with a slingshot. Then I slowly started hitting PRs. I hit a 505, a 510, and eventually a 515, which was the most I had ever bench pressed at all. My squats continued to go up as well during this period of time. Eventually, I hit a 645 single. This was a buffalo bar single, which a buffalo bar is longer. It has a bow or a curve, and because of this curve, you tend to lean over a little bit more, makes the squat a little bit more difficult for me. But because of the wide grip I can get with it, allows me to save some shoulder wear and tear. Anyway, I was able to hit an easy 645-pound single with the buffalo bar, which typically would equate to, for me, over a 700-pound straight bar squat. And the week or weeks right before the meet, I hit a 765-pound deadlift for 4 reps. That was with chains, so there was some. It wasn't a full 765 at the bottom. It did unload a little bit, but in any case, that was from about 3 inches. So that was a PR for me as well. So, basically from April until now, I've just been hitting PRs weekly. I'm as strong as I've ever been, and like I said, I'm approaching the age 46 and doing it completely injury-free. My joints feel great with the training style I'm using right now, but unfortunately, I had something bad happen at the meet, which I will explain shortly. Before I do so, I want to kind of translate where my lifts were prior to the meet. Bench press, if you take away the chains and the slingshot, I think I was about at a 440, 450 bench press. That was what I was planning on going for my last rep at the meet. Squats, I had, like I said, I hit a 645 buffalo bar squat. I hit a 625 double. I was planning on going for a 700 pound squat, raw squat at the meet, My squat was probably somewhere between 670 and 700. It's hard to tell until you hit the platform. My deadlift, I'm pretty sure my deadlift is currently around 760 to 800 pounds. But again, until you hit the platform, nothing is reality. It's just all fantasy world. So my three lift total, puts me somewhere between 1850 and 1950 pounds raw, which I am pretty proud to say puts me right around, top 20, top 30, top, maybe even top 10 if I would have hit that 1950 at the meet, but I didn't. Anyway, it puts me in some of the top over 40 lifters of all time raw. Not a lot of guys continue to lift raw like that over the age of 40, so... but those guys got it done on the platform. Me, I had an injury leading up to the, not an injury, more like an illness leading up to the meet. I made a big mistake, and a week before the meet, things got kind of jumbled. So I decided to do 3 moderate days all on the same day, the Saturday before the meet. Bench press, squats, and deadlifts. I decided to do all 3 lifts on the same day before the meet, which is highly unusual for me. And I believe I started with the deadlifts, did the bench presses. Everything felt good. It was a little bit lighter than I normally train. I think I hit a 765 single on the deadlift. I think on bench press, I only worked up to, 465, 485. I think a 485 single, now that I recall. I believe I had thought I put 465 on there, but it was a misload. And so I ended up hitting 485. And then by the time I got the squats, it was so stinking warm that day that I couldn't go on past 415. I was just toast. It was an extremely hot day. Combining that with my attempt to hit all 3 lifts on the same day, I was sweating profusely. I had a bunch of stuff to do with the family after that, so I immediately hopped in a hot shower, got out of the shower, continued to sweat and drink and sweat, but we ended up going to Pizza Hut, spend some time with the family, eat some food. I got up at Pizza Hut and nearly every muscle in my body locked up. My chest, Charlie horse. My calves, Charlie horse. My hamstrings, Charlie horse. My left quad got a Charlie horse. My right ab got a Charlie horse. I literally stood there holding the counter in the middle of Pizza Hut for 15 minutes, unable to move, because every time I just moved a little bit, something or multiple muscle groups just locked up from these Charlie horses. Anyway, after things relaxed a little bit, I managed to get to the car and we were going to see a movie, and I was stubborn. I'm like, okay, maybe it's improved now. Let's just go to a movie. I sat there at the movie theater, and about halfway through the movie, I decided to try to get up and go to the bathroom. And again, I was so dehydrated, even though I was drinking, I still couldn't get caught up, that I just had multiple muscles, just all Charlie horse at the same time, trying to get up. And I was in bad pain for about 15 minutes in the middle of that movie. It was just entire body felt like a Charlie horse. By the end of the movie, I thought I was going to have to call 911 because, I just couldn't move at all. And I thought I was in deep trouble. Honestly, the Charlie horses were so bad, the full body dehydration in the Charlie horses were so bad that I was afraid my heart was going to start in. My heart was going to, give out or something. I mean, heck, I'm a big guy. I've been training hard. I was never been this dehydrated in my life. It was kind of scary, but actually I managed to get home. For that week, from then up to the meet, I did everything I could to try to recover. I sat, I drank, I pounded water like no end, I took my minerals, potassium and sodium. I took taurine. I took every anti-cramp supplement on that you can imagine. I pounded my minerals to try to get some balance back in my body. But I got to the meet and I started doing my warm-up sets, 315 on squats. 315 felt like 700 pounds. My central nervous system, for whatever reason, was still shut down from the week prior, the fiasco with the dehydration. So by the time I got up to the bar to try to attempt my first squat at 625, I was lightheaded. I felt like somebody punched me. I felt like I was going to fall over. And I could not even do the eccentric for the squat. It was so disappointing. You train so hard for a day like that, and then I couldn't even lower the weight. It just felt impossibly heavy. 2 weeks prior, I had done 625 for an easy double. Gun to head, I could have done 625 for 4 to 5 reps. On meet day, I was still so messed up that I could not even do it. I got off the platform. I sat back down. I kept telling myself, quitters don't quit. I started pounding more water. I ate a protein bar. I pounded more water. And I was determined to at least give 625 another attempt. And I got up there and I couldn't do it. So I called off the meet. I helped a couple buddies compete in their first powerlifting meet at the UPA. And I helped my daughter compete the next day. But that, my friends, was the end of a long and intense journey. This was my Super Bowl, and it didn't work out the way I had planned. But I'm still quite happy with the numbers I accomplished. Again, I'm one of the strongest lifters over the age of 40 that's ever had a chance to lift a barbell. And I feel very happy with that, but I also respect the platform, and I did not get it done on the platform. From now on forward, my goal is to drop weight. I am currently, at the meet, I was 341 pounds. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit coming up. This is going to be a long video, so I hope you guys can handle it. But I've lost 9 pounds the first week out. I want to continue to cut. There's a saying in powerlifting, there's a lot of big powerlifters and there's a lot of old powerlifters, but you don't see many big old powerlifters. And guys, I cannot continue to try and compete at this weight at my age. It's going to end up in one place, and that's a casket. So I'm going to try to pull back down on the weight. 250, 270 pounds is my goal. I'm considering becoming a deadlift specialist because it is what I am good at, but I'm still just going to take things day by day. My new regimen involves a lot of conditioning work, and I'm going to talk about that here in a second. Basically, 6 days a week, I go out and walk for 45 minutes. Plus, I'm trying to ramp up kettlebell swings to 200 per day. And then once I hit that, I'm going to increase the weight. I need to increase my conditioning, and I need to increase my lower back strength. Those two things became apparent, over the last several months that I was really slacking on. For those of you that don't do any conditioning work, and you're a bodybuilder or you're a power lifter, I've really, really changed how I view conditioning work these last several months. I ate and ate and ate because it brought my strength up incredibly. Eating is magic for strength. I also believe it to be magic for muscle building for the same reason. But I got away from my conditioning work. I lost all my good conditioning. I barely can walk to the mailbox without getting out of breath. How in the world can someone like that, someone like me, who has blown all of his conditioning work, expect to make it through a 12-hour day at a powerlifting meet and have his lower back survive and just be able to survive physically without any conditioning work. So I don't care who you are. I don't care what your goals are. You need to do some conditioning work during the week just to keep that heart in good shape, keep your lower back in good condition, just being used to being on your feet. So that's one of my major goals moving forward. I'm also doing a lot of training of power lifters, not a lot, but a good portion. And in the future, I'm going to be opening up my doors to try to help some of you one-on-one. So stay tuned for that in the future. I'm also working on a book as well. That should be coming out soon. That's going to be my philosophy on getting big and strong and freaky like the big, old, hairy, ugly dude. So guys, at this meet, I just want to give a couple shout outs. This meet, again, was the UPA battle on the Mississippi. Marshall Johnson, who you probably know as a freak show, spent a lot of time encouraging my daughter at this meet. I want to give a shout out to Marshall. He's a great guy, a man's man, and support him in any way you can because he supports powerlifting. He supported my daughter that day, and I am a Marshall Johnson fan. I also want to give a shout out to Paul Carter. You've probably seen the blog Lift, Bang, Run. He was there supporting Pete Rubish and the Lillibridges and just supporting powerlifting in general. I had a minimal chance to talk to him, but he is a great guy, so I would encourage you to support his blog as well. I'm going to link that below. You can check out his blog. I also want to thank the Lillibridges, who are always supportive, who are great men, not just on the platform, but in life. They are men's men, they are quality human beings. They support every lifter that goes up there on the platform. They support my daughter, which I appreciate greatly. And I want to give a special shout out to Eric Lillibridge and say thanks for putting my big ugly mug at the end of your new deadlift PR video. I appreciate the shout out, so I'm going to give a shout out back to you guys. You have nothing but my greatest respect. So, to those of you watching this video who have no idea what to expect at powerlifting meets, I encourage you, if you're in the Midwest, to stop by a UPA meet sometime. How cool is it to get the Freak Show, Marshall Johnson, Paul Carter from Lift, Bang, Run, all the Lillibridges, Big Pete Rubish, who's young and can pull 1,000 billion pounds off the floor like a freak. All those guys under the same tent, along with the big, hairy, ugly dude. Guys, it's an amazing, amazing time at UPA meets. I love it. I can't speak highly enough about the job Bill Carpenter does. And I encourage you, if you are in the Midwest and interested in powerlifting, to contact me. I'll help you. I'll give you some guidance on how to get started. Or look up the UPA, and they usually have meets in Dubuque, Iowa, guys. So, that's where we're at, guys. That's my life over the last 4 to 5 months, and where I am now with conditioning and weight loss. And what I have been up to. This has consumed my life. It has unbalanced my life. I allowed it to unbalance my life because, like I said, I considered this my Super Bowl. I went for it. My wife was behind me. My kids were behind me. And I put everything I could into this process. And I also want to leave you with some parting shots, because when you see these big guys behind this box called the worldwide YouTubes, it can seem kind of cool to be 310, 320, 330, in my case, 341 pounds. But I got to tell you, guys, that for most of you, I do not recommend I do not recommend trying to achieve a weight this big. There are many downsizes. Last year at UPA Nationals, I competed at 318 pounds. This year I competed at 341. I lost my conditioning. I felt like crap during the last 2 months, despite eating and eating and eating and having my strength go up. And like I said, guys, eating and strength have a very nice correlation, a very nice synergy, especially for the natural lifter. But you gotta take it slow, and that's the way I recommend doing it. I don't recommend being this heavy for 99.9% of you. Just too many downsides. Excuse me. Over the last 2 months, my breathing has become sporadic when I sleep. I stop breathing when I sleep, just because of my sheer size. I cramp so easily because of my size, and that wrecked my meat. Um, you have a hard time. I have a hard time tying my shoes without getting an ab cramp. There's just too many negatives, too many downsides to this. So when you see these big guys, this big guy like the big hairy ugly dude, and you're thinking maybe I ought to just bulk up to his size. Wouldn't it be cool to bulk up to his size and put on the weight he does and be a one of the strongest, biggest, oldest dudes in the history of lifting or whatever. Just not worth it, guys. Just not worth it. You reach a point where you have a hard time putting on your own shoes. You're so big. You can't even scratch your own back. You're so big. You're sleeping and you stop breathing for a few seconds and you're scaring your wife. It's just not worth it. So my advice to you is, if you're a big dude and you're a younger dude, I strongly encourage you to get a good portion of that fat off your body before you start worrying about building strength over time and eating a little bit more. Get the fat off first. If you're a younger, thinner power lifter, or you're a younger, thinner athlete and you're after strength, don't go crazy on trying to add too much body weight too soon. My advice for you is, if you love strength training, build a strength base first. Add around your given weight. I'd like you to add a little bit of weight, obviously, so you can add some muscle size. But don't go hog wild. Don't be at like 170, 180 pounds and try to get to 240 after a year. Strength building takes time, kids. Strength building takes time. Take your time. Don't rush. Enjoy the process. Get as humanly strong as you can around your current body weight. It's okay to slowly add a few pounds over time, because that's a good thing. That'll help you add some mass to your frame. But don't go crazy and try to add 70 pounds of body weight in a year, unless you're playing, unless you're a football player, and then, that's your life. Do what you want to do. But don't try to get up to 270, 250 pounds over the course of a year or two, because you're young. That's easily going to turn into 300 after another year, and maybe 310, 320, 330 after a couple more years. You do not want to be that heavy, that young, because unless you're an elite level, near elite level power lifter, because when you start to get old, you need an exit plan, because you're not going to feel good. That weight's going to start creeping up even more and more, and you are going to regret it. You're going to need a CPAP. You're going to stop breathing when you're sleeping. You're going to have a hard time wiping your own ass when you take a crap, kids, and that's as real as I can get, but that's reality. That's not fun. So, stay at a reasonable weight. Get as strong as you can, and stay pretty when you're young and pretty. So, guys, I hope this video has been of some help to you. Again, take time to check out the Lift Bang Run blog below. And if you have any questions for me, there is a link below as well. Each day, I'm going to try to answer your questions via video. I'm going to take the best questions, turn them into a video. Whoops, lights out on the computer. Turn them into a video. And the best of the best questions will get a free t-shirt from the Big Hairy Ugly Dude. It's not much, but it's free, and free is better than paying for. So, guys, thanks for listening to my long spiel. And stay tuned in the future for my new book, which will be coming out. And, again, post your training questions below, training and diet and nutrition questions below. If they're good, I'll answer them via video. So, guys, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day.